Hi everyone, John from Discover RC. Today I have a review of the new Revell Nano Hexacopter, the Nano Hexagon. Revell doesn't have too many RC products. Mostly they're known for plastic models, plastic scale models, things like that. But they are owned by Hobbico, so perhaps we'll be seeing more RC under the brand. This small hex fits in the palm of your hand and comes in at $40 ready to fly. In the box you have the Hexacopter, the mini controller, USB charger, 6 spare props, 2 AA's for the transmitter, and the instructions. I did one-time charge, which was exactly 40 minutes from a depleted battery. This USB charger is a little different from what you might be used to. When the hex is not plugged in, the charger LED is on. When the hex is plugged in and charging, the LED actually goes off, and then when the charge is complete, the LED comes back on again. So that's a little different, where usually when you're charging, the LED is actually lit. The charging lead has a small arrow on top. This shows you which way to plug it into the hex. The hex itself has a hard plastic shell, 6 LED lights for orientation. 2 in the front are white, just like the props. The rear LEDs are red, and the side LEDs are green. There are soft foam landing feet, which are attached pretty strongly with glue. The controller is the typical nano-type small controller that we're used to. Even though it's small, I felt like I could control the hex pretty well with it. You have all the trim tabs on it to remove any minor drift. Press the left stick down to select the 3 rates. Low rates is 1 beep, the middle rates 2 beeps, and high rates 3 beeps. Press the right stick down to go into flip mode. When you press it down, you'll hear a beep, and then you can just move the right stick in the direction that you want the flip to go. The flips are very fast, and if you manage the throttle well, you can lose almost no altitude during a flip. The lowest rate is very docile, very easy to fly, and great for a complete beginner. The intermediate mode gives a little more tilt on the pitch and the roll, and the highest rates still more. I did find even on the highest rates, the hex is not overly twitchy and still easy to manage. If you are a seasoned pilot, you'll probably want to just fly it in the high rates. The yaw is slow and does not change appreciably with the higher rates. The Hexacopter has decent punch-out power. It's not a rocket, and it's less punchy than the Proto X, but since it's so small, it will get small very quick once you're flying straight up in the air. Speaking of that, I couldn't fly this more than really about 20 or 30 feet away without losing orientation, even with the lights and even with the different colored props on it. The flight time on average was about 5 minutes. They say 6 minutes in the instructions, but that could be if you're just kind of hovering it. I was getting 5 on averaging, flying it around, throwing in some flips. The internal battery is a 150 milliamp hour single cell pack. The LEDs are very nice. They're good in low light, and at night the hex was very easy to see and pretty fun to fly in complete darkness. If you notice the hex is out of trim or not stable and hover, go ahead and recalibrate the gyros, and this is very simple to do. Just set the hex on a level surface, arm it, and then select the highest rate mode. That's the 3 beeps. Bring both sticks down and to the right fully, and the hex will quickly flash, and that's it. You've recalibrated it. I did find that I need to do this quite often, even after just a normal flight with no crashes, and eventually I just started doing the recalibration before every flight. So things I like. The price for what you get is good. At 40 bucks, it's kind of a cool little Hexacopter. You know, it's very small, it's very easy to fly, it's very stable. This could easily be your first multi-rotor, your first flying machine. Turn up the rates as you progress and it'll grow right with you. It's got decent flight time for a Nano Hex at 5 minutes, charge time of 40 minutes, not too bad. And it seems fairly abuse-proof. You know, I did a fair number of crashes and banged it up pretty good, and the only thing I did was bend one prop a little bit, and I lost one of those little foam landing feet. But I didn't crack the shell or have any other significant damage. The Hexacopter does some nice tight flips as well. Overall, I found it to be more stable than, say, the Proto X or other similar nano quads, and it may be that it's a bit bigger, and of course it's a Hexacopter. So if you're just starting out looking at nanos, this may be the best one to get. Not that the Proto X isn't great, but it tends to be a little more twitchy than the Hexagon. The Hexagon gives you a nice smooth flight. For spare parts, you've got the props, motors, body shells, batteries, and the USB charger all available at Tower. So now some things that could be improved with this. The orientation is a little bit difficult overall, and that's mainly because of the body color. I would like it if they could add some more color to the front arms, maybe differentiate them from the rest of the quad so it'll be a little bit easier to follow, especially when you're flying it in daytime in the bright sun when the LEDs just don't show up that well. When it's low light or night or inside, the LEDs do work much better. The motor wires are soldered in, and so it's not easy to replace a motor if you end up with a dead motor. You'll have to desolder the original and then resolder in the new motor. And I would imagine a lot of people buying this Hexacopter may not be comfortable soldering a new motor in. The yaw rate is very slow, even on the highest rates, and this is kind of expected, but still it would be nice if it was a little bit faster, at least on the higher rate. With the controller, the only comment I'd make is that the rate selection and the flip buttons can be a little tricky to press sometimes. The controller is so stubby with those little control sticks that when you go to press down to select, say, the rate or the flip mode, sometimes you just accidentally move the stick, and then of course the Hexacopter is going to do what it's going to do. So a little bit tricky to push those down without moving other things around. The battery also is replaceable if it starts to lose its charge and the flight times deteriorate, if you notice that's happening. But again, you have to take apart the hexacopter, desolder the old battery, and resolder in the new battery. Again, something a lot of people may not want to undertake. All right, guys, those are my thoughts on this little Revell Nano Hexagon. Overall, I think at 40 bucks, I can recommend it as being worth the bang for the buck. You know, it's so stable. It's very cool to have a hexacopter this size. It's actually the first hex that I've ever flown, and it's very easy, very stable to fly. Like I said, anybody who's new to flying can pick one of these up and get it flying around. Put it on high rates and you can zip it around pretty fast. Just don't go too far away. By the way, if you do get too far away and you can't tell which way it's going, just try and get into a hover and then just try to rotate a little bit on the yaw, push the nose forward until you can tell that it's coming back towards you. And if that still doesn't work, just try to set it down gently. Or, you know, it's probably not that far away. You can just walk over to it and start flying it again. Thanks for watching, guys, and please leave any comments or questions below, and please subscribe as this helps support the channel. And I'll see you flying next time.